but I'm so happy you guys are here today. I would love if you wouldn't mind sharing in the chat your name, your location, maybe your role in education, and what's a favorite story you read as a child. We're going to be talking about stories today that are worth telling, kind of the idea of the visual stories that matter to us. So please feel free to share. Love to show you that, and then we will kind of dive in. Love to know. I will tell you a little bit about myself while we're doing that. Hello, Mr. Rodriguez. My name is Susan Maynor. I am a learning experience designer. I've been a teacher. I'm all kinds of things. I'm working in elementary school currently, but I actually have taught high school and middle school. And my greatest passion is some of the things I'm going to share with you today. Just the power of the visual story and the tools that are out there, and for students to find their voice and to share and put good things into the world. So I'll give you guys a minute to share your name. It's always good to see who you're in professional learning with. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get set up. Let's see. There we go. Oh, look at you guys. Awesome. Fourth grade teacher. Stephanie, welcome. Ms. Rodriguez, I see you're third and fourth grade. Nice. Love that age group. Middle school. Where the wild things are. So good. I have a son named Max, actually, and he has a sign on the wall we painted for him when he was little, says, "And now," cried Max, "let the wild rumpus start." It's like one of his favorite things. I'm probably going to say your last name wrong, so I'll just call you Miss Raquel. You teach third and fourth grade. Welcome. Gosh, we have a lot of upper elementary. And the one and only Ivan. Yes. Oh, I got some Harry Potter. Oh, junior high. Okay, this is good. This is good. A lot of this I think you will be able to connect with. Dandelion by Don Freeman. Amanda, I don't know if I know that book. I'll have to go look that up. Oh, and if you give a mouse a cookie, I feel like my life is if you give a mouse a cookie. I'm like, oh, I want to fix my garden, and oops, time for a new fence. Oops, time for this. All right, enough me chatting. All right, so Lauren, if you will share with them or let them know that their Canva, it's not exactly the same, but they can follow along while I kind of work through some of this. So Lauren's going to share with you. I'm going to be using Keynote, and we used it last time. I'm going to present on Keynote, but I did. Yes, Amanda. I'm sorry, ADHD showcase. So Lauren will share with you. You can follow. There you go. It's in the chat. Most of the same things are on there. There's resources. You can follow along, watch the screen. I'm going to do things a little bit differently. If you have your iPad nearby, go ahead and have it. I'm going to go slow enough and warm us up that I'm going to have you sort of do some things with me while I'm demoing, just to kind of get our brains in that space. All right, so here we go. Let me get set up. We are going to today talk through a little bit about stories worth telling. This is kind of part 2. We introduced, I'm going to go ahead and we introduced visual narratives last time, and using that kind of big, broad term, the idea that a visual narrative is the act of telling a story primarily through images, film, comics, whatever it might be, just something different than just paper pencil. You may use paper pencil to plan for it, but the world is so visual. So how do we empower our kids to get ready for being able to put their voice into the world? So there's a question up here that we're going to kind of play around with today as we sort of uncover and learn a few things. How might students create visual stories that communicate understanding, meaning, and potential impact? So it's like taking it next level now. And we're going to start, I'm going to take kind of this visual framework, visual narrative framework I shared last time, make it even a little simpler for you all. In how could that translate into your classrooms? Because if you think about it, there's narrative in everything. There's narrative in science and social studies And obviously in literacy and the humanities and all the things, there is the idea that there's a story. And so it can be everything from explaining something to designing something to sharing a positive message. So today, what we're going to talk about and kind of these three, kind of this process is when we design stories that are worth telling. And I want you to kind of I'm going to show you some examples in a minute too. Want you to put your mindset into the idea that we want to understand the story. We want to actually look beyond and what is the meaning. And then design with purpose and communicate for impact. So that's like our big story arc, and we're going to break it up into those three parts and do it together. The first thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to warm our brains up. So if you would like, if you want, and I'm going to show you where Keynote is. Keynote is this right here, if you have it. This one right here where my little cursor is, that is Keynote. And if you want to go ahead and grab your iPad, open up Keynote, we are going to actually practice with a tool called Line Draw, which is so cool. My kids love it, especially when I see who's here with up through middle school. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this for just a second because I'm going to show you, especially if you were not here last time, how we open up a new Keynote. So in Keynote right here, if you've opened it, all right, you will hit choose a theme. All right. A lot of this with Keynote, when I work on things with students, I encourage you to play a little bit first. This is what I'm doing right now is something you could do with your kids tomorrow if you want to teach them something like this. And it's simple because it just comes down to, we're going to write our names. We're going to choose a very basic white. And if you remember that from last time we did that, we're going to open up our basic presentation. And we've got boxes there already. We want to get rid of those boxes. So we're going to tap, and when you select one of these text boxes or shape, you will see a blue line that goes around it. With that selected, that you can easily delete everything. So I'm going to give a nice clean palette, and we are going to practice with drawing. And if you look up at the top, we have all these menus. They literally just redid it a couple months ago, and sometimes I'm still clicking around to be like, where is that? Where was it supposed to be? Because they've changed it. But when we want to add something, whether it's a picture or a drawing, we go up to the paperclip. So I'm going to type the paperclip, and you're going to see that you have multiple things that you can add. Down here, you can even add equations. That's kind of I haven't even ventured much into that because of but you can do a lot of high-level math. Web, video, image, and you can see all of these things, including audio. So it's very multimodal. We're going to add a drawing. So I'm going to tap Add Drawing. And when I tap Add Drawing, you'll see that I have all of these drawing tools. We have this one right here is a a crayon. And if you tap the crayon and tap any of them, you'll see that you can go thicker or thinner with your point. This right here, I believe, is a pencil. And this little slider right here has to do with the opacity. So if we go more there, you won't be able to see through it. And then there is this, I believe, is a marker. And obviously you can see there's an eraser. I'm just going to go with the crayon. So if you want to choose a tool and do this with me, it's pretty simple. You'll see the colors on the right. And we're going to focus on the one that looks like a rainbow. Yours might look like a rainbow. Mine happens to be red, but it has the rainbow around the outside. I'm going to tap that, and that allows me to choose any color I want. That's your spectrum. You've got your grid. You have your spectrum where you can slide around, and that gives you really every color. And these sliders have to do with what are called hex colors. And a lot of the times as the kids get older, they'll understand that is the color that it's like when you go to the paint store and you're like, this is the color and it has a number. This is the digital number. And kids, especially if they're getting up into high school and graphic design. So we're going to do grid. Choose a color you like, any color. I'm going to choose purple. When I was in kindergarten, apparently, I insisted I must have a purple rest mat when it was, to go to kindergarten. So Purple's in my heart somewhere in there. All right, so I'm going to just use my finger. You can use an Apple Pencil, you can use a stylus, does not matter. But the nice thing about this is you can even just use your finger. I'm going to write my name. And if I just write directly in touch, because again, you'll see that I'm just writing my name. And if I decide, oh, I don't like that, I can tap my eraser. I can start over. I can change colors. I'm actually going to start all over because I realized I wanted to make this a little thicker and a little smaller. So I'm going to hit that and I'm going to go a little thicker and I'm going to go a little smaller. And I'm going to write my name. Okay. And I might do a little doodles around it as well, because this is what I'm going to show you is how to animate with our drawings. And when I animate with drawings, it's going to show, it's going to bring to life what I've drawn. So I'm going to do a few little things, kind of in a heart mood, I guess. Maybe I'll do a flower. I think I'll change a color. So practice for a second. Let's see, blue's pretty. Maybe I'll do a little blue. We'll do a flower and we'll do a green center. All right. Give you guys a second to finish maybe writing your name or drawing something. After we do our drawing, you're going to come up here to find the check mark and you are going to commit to your drawing. If you look at the screen, you'll see that I have a blue line all the way around my name. That means all of my drawing is contained within that. There's a way to, if it was separate it out. In fact, I can show you that just really, because sometimes when you do it with kids, they don't all stay connected like this and you want them to. I can even adjust it. I'm going to show you one thing if it does happen, especially if you want to choose this tomorrow. I'm going to just do one more little thing over here. So say I do another flower over here, I commit, and now I have two boxes. It's really this, what I'm going to show you with the C animation, they need to be connected. So all we do with that is we hit when they're both selected and we do select objects and we group them. We merge them. It's the word merge. And now I have one big picture. All right, there we go. You guys ready for some magic? All right, so one of the things that's built into Keynote is the ability to, it will animate what I just drew. It'll start from the beginning as a blank palette and put it all together. And to do that, I need to select the actual picture. So I tapped on the picture. I'm going to hit the little arrow on the side and I'm going to find where it says animate right there. You can see animate. I'm going to tap animate. And then it brings me to a new window. And if you were here, I think we did paths last time. This time we're going to look at what's called build in. Now what a build in means, it starts blank and it adds to it. So I'm going to tap build in and you'll see that it has line draw. And that line draw is going to automatically animate my name. And there you go. And I can then control it by, if I tap the X, I can control the speed by tapping the actual line draw once it's committed as an animation. I can then slide faster, slower. I usually tell the kids not to go too fast or it's hard to see, and too slow because especially when they're little, they scribble when I'm first teaching them. And then it's just kind of a lot. So, and something like this, and I'll show you an example of a couple other examples, but line draw can be used in anything. Kids can trace things and it can be part of their stories. So if you want to introduce a very simple animation storytelling technique, just teach them line draw. This usually is combined with something else, but it gets our brains thinking movement and motion graphics. So we're going to come up here to our check mark and we are going to commit. And now we can press play, which is this mark right here. I'm going to open it up, tap it. And now I actually have a little movie of my name. So that is Easy peasy. All right. So put that in the back of your mind. We're now going to go back to the presentation that you all have a little bit copy of. We got our brains warmed up and everything. Great question. Yes, Lauren, thank you. Yes, it is. It's on the iPad. So we're going to start with, how do we do this with kids? Like, how do we do this when we're learning content? And we want stories to be much more interesting than just show us what you know. We want to take a little bit deeper. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through my process. And the example that I have for you is water, ocean acidification, and why it matters to the marine life. And so we're going to, it's a little bit higher concept, probably like lower high school, maybe upper middle. So, but in any case, it's the concept is the same of just finding the story. So we're going to start with, what is the content? In this case, I actually looked at a couple of your standards. I asked Amanda to give me and I think you guys do the science, next generation science standards. And I thought, okay, I'm going to understand, what is the content? What's the story of the content and why does it matter? If we're looking at CO2 in the ocean and what impact does it have, I start to think, what is really the story? And the story is the CO2 dissolves in the water, it changes the water, and it impacts the marine organisms. So we just went from ocean and acid to, wow, it has potential impact. And if students are passionate about it, they can bring their voice to the table and say, hey, we want to create something. So when we dig a little bit deeper, well, why would this story even matter? Why does it need to exist? And if you think about something you teach, for example, I know that the next generation science standards, we do them here in Missouri, and I'm thinking about some of the things in third grade. They do ecosystems. You could look at it through the lens of fragile ecosystems. I think fourth grade has natural disasters. I have an example to show you with that. They also do like survival with animals. The littles, there's all kinds of great things there, like what do living things need? How do we help the outdoor environment? When you start looking at social studies, it's all about the common good. And this is about literacy, but literacy is in everything, and stories and everything. So really, honestly, to think about this, whatever you're teaching, you can think, what story could I help my students tell? So in this case, we are going to play around with the idea that CO2 ends up in the air, goes into the ocean, and hurts the animals. We'll keep it super simple. All right. So now that we understand the story that we're going to tell, we're not going to just say, what is the scientific process? We are going to start to think, well, who needs to know this? And what matters about this? I ask my students that all the time whenever we're doing anything. Well, why are we doing this? And usually 9 times out of 10, most of them know why. Well, we want to bring awareness. We want to let people know that there's problems in the world. There might be something where we want to teach someone else what a simple machine is. I think fourth grade has a lot of those simple machines as part of their standards. And the question is, who needs to understand this? Well, little people do. So sometimes bigger kids can teach younger kids. So we start by looking at, okay, we're gonna have purpose behind this creation that we're doing. We're not just gonna play around on our iPads. So we think we're gonna design with purpose. And for this, what matters is that humans know that this is an issue. Our pollution that goes in the air causes problems for our oceans. And so we automatically have a built-in audience. Then once we have a decide on who our audience is, we think, all right, what are we going to create? And I was looking at some, there's so many great ideas, like a photo essay, animation, a video, stop motion. You can see all those on there. Any of those are great options. We're going to just practice the animation for this one because I'm going to teach you one of my favorite things about Keynote, which is called Magic Move. And I'm going to teach you through this process right now. So we are going to make a little story. I'm going to show you the story first, and then we're going to build part of it together. So here's the story. I'm going to show you. All right. All of this that you're seeing were just graphics inside Keynote. And my writing, since we're talking about literacy, let's just pretend I'm a 8th grader and I did this research and I wrote this in my rough draft. The CO2 goes into the air. Now we go to the ocean. The CO2 comes into the ocean. And again, literacy component is excess CO2 causes problems, harms the marine life, decreases the pH, and then we have some problems because the fish get it inside their bodies and they don't survive. And neither do the shells. So what can we do? Humans can help by reducing carbon footprints, supporting sustainable energy, and protecting ecosystems. So that is a simple visual story of important content that students have, that in this particular case, this was just the content, that students have to learn, and then they created something with potential impact. All right, you guys ready? I would love for you guys to try this with me. I'll try to go slow, but I want to kind of teach you in the demo so that you can turn around and then practice. And you don't, I'm going to go super simple. We're not going to make all of that, but I'm at least going to teach you 2 or 3 of the different ways to make things move. So if you want to, let's go back to that practice one. I'm just going to go back to the practice one I had, and I'm going to walk you through creating a story. We're going to start with our factory or something. So I'm going to come down to the bottom. And if you see the plus, if you have this on a Mac, you can still do pretty much everything I'm doing. It's a little different. Lauren, I saw with Canva, you can do it absolutely on Canva. It's a little bit different again, but all the concepts are generally the same. They're just the tools might look different. So maybe towards the end, if those of you wanted to look at Canva, we can look at how that might translate. We're going to create a new slide. All right, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. So if you click the plus, and I'm going to collect just a plain one. Like I always like to start with a blank palette. And if you remember, our paintbrush is the tool where we can change colors, and we're not adding anything. We're just we're formatting it. So we're going to tap the plus, or excuse me, the paintbrush, and you'll see that there's a background. We want this to be in the day. So if you would like to have a yellow, a light blue, whatever you want, go to find your color. I'm going to choose just a light blue, just because, but you can choose. It'd actually probably be more interesting if we did sort of a gray, but then that would be weird. So we're just going to go with blue because it's not just gray. All right. So here we are back again on our plane. We now need to find a factory. We can draw a factory if we're really good at that, but that takes a lot of time. So nice thing about Keynote, same thing with Canva, is it has a lot of the images they need. This is not really about the art. This is really about the story, because we want them to understand cause and effect or whatever we're teaching. So up here, there's a lot of obviously different things. The best one I have found is the purple. If you see it, my purple square, if you tap that, that opens up all of the little libraries that, and again, this is on the new end. So it's a little bit, we're still trying to figure it out. And the new operating system is a little bit woo. But we can walk through where to find some fun things to create. First of all, this first one is just always like what's new. And so if you scroll down, you can see how some fun things are new. The next one over that looks like a picture, it is a picture. So for example, if you want to do some photo essays and photo types of things, then this would give you lots of different options if you didn't want to necessarily go out and take those pictures. The next one are the graphics. These are the ones we're going to use right now, but it's kind of neat in terms of it's really fun to see. They have a transparent background. They come in as images, so you're not kind of overwhelmed with all the pieces. I'm going to tap in search. Actually, I'm going to pause for a minute. Sorry, I meant to show you the other ones before. These right here are backgrounds, just plain backgrounds. As you can see, obviously all different just static backgrounds. These are shapes, and I love all the shapes. The shapes allow you to change colors and to kind of morph them, and I'll show you how to do that. It also has your text box. So when you want to add a text box, you go to the shape. Here's all your graphs. You've got your 2D charts, 3D charts, and all those kinds of things. So if you want to teach math, we literally, our fifth graders just did this for an experimental design, and they brought and they created a graph in Keynote. So I go back here, if you'll tap on that to the search. I'm going to get back there first. Tap on the graphics and then tap the word, let's do factory, see what comes up. Let's see if, well, it has factory farm. And I'm going to hit transparency because what I want is a graphic. Okay, this is kind of what I want here. I'm going to look through and make sure that I find that here's another piece where you can check kids' understanding. They're not just going to choose any old picture. They need to choose a picture that is actually releasing CO2. So something like, I want to say, I think this one. So this, if you see this right here, I tap it and it will show up on my screen. You can choose a different one. You don't have to do this factory, but I'm using 2 fingers right now to pinch out a little to give me a little more space. And I'm adjusting the size of my factory. All right. So now I have my factory. And I can do things, I can even make it go off a little bit. I can make it bigger. I can move it this way, however you want to do it. You can add more. We can add a sun. Kids, love to build scenes and all those things. This is so great if you love to teach reading and they want to build a setting for their stories. Have them explore what are the options there in the different thing in the, here at this piece, it was just factory farm. But if I made this go away for a minute and I went back and I just did search everything, daily life, everything, they can just get to know what shapes are there. Then they can create from there. We are actually going to look up CO2. So I'm going to type in CO2. And here's this. Also, city pollution might be a good one too. I could have looked up that. If I look up CO2, it's going to give me anything that's tagged in Keynote for that. And what do you know? This is perfect right here. This is what I used earlier. And I'm going to show you how you can get rid of the arrows. So we're going to take this CO2. Kids can also make their own CO2 if they're learning molecules, especially like if they're in 8th and 9th grade when they're putting things together. Anyway, this is also right now, this would be really good to do for 4th and 5th grade. Their big science is human impact. This would be a great thing for them to do is like, what human impact do we have on the ecosystems? Pollution causes problems for the marine life. So if you can see, I'm actually with one finger, I'm dragging it to show it big. What I'm going to do is I want to get rid of those arrows. So I'm going to double tap it. And you will see that when I double tap it, it has a square, it has those lines around it. That allows for cropping and for zooming in because this is technically an image. And so what I'm going to do is very carefully on the blue dots at the bottom, I'm going to bring it up right under the cloud and I'm going to tap off of it and I've just cropped it and I don't have little arrows anymore. Take you a minute I'm going to show you that one more time because you can do that with any image. You double tap and you'll see this too, this slider right here. If I see the slider just zooms in and out, it's kind of no big deal. I don't know why I just did that. I'm going to try it one more time. I'm creating problems here. All right. I'm going to select the line, bring it up, and I have cropped off that piece. And now I like what I have here. All right. Okay. Let's make 2. So this is how we duplicate. Super easy. Once you get things going, you can tap it and you will notice cut, copy, paste, etc. Super easy. We're going to copy and then we're going to come over and tap in a different spot and we're going to tap paste. That simple. So therefore you're not having to go through that long process every time. You only have to do it, you know, those 2, I mean, just to cut and paste it. All right. We are now going to make these guys move. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through very slowly how to do magic move. Once you wrap your head around magic move, it's almost like, and you kind of understand it, it's the opportunities to create motion graphics and animation become endless. And our littles can do it, our bigs can do it, and our teachers, everybody can do it. We just have to practice. So I'm going to walk you through very slow, and go ahead and put in the chat, you know, if you're having any questions or you need me to show you again, because it's a multi-step. So what Magic Move does is Magic Move takes one slide. In this case, we're going to take slide 2. We're going to duplicate and have slide 3. We're going to have 2 slides that look the same. But whatever we have on the first slide, if we want it to move, we move it so that it's where it is on the first slide. We move it to a second spot on the second slide, and then we put a transition between it. So we're not actually doing the moving. We're just deciding where it begins and ends. So in this case, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tap the slide and I'm going to hit duplicate because I want to see where my CO2 is going. So I'm going to duplicate just so I can see where it's going. It's starting here. So slide 2 is my CO2 is on the screen. Slide 3, I want my CO2 to move. So I am going to notice how they're going this direction. I'm going to make this guy move off and I'm going to slide him off. Oops. And slide him off. So again, slide 2, they're in the air. Slide 3, they have floated off beyond the air. So your first slide where you want it, second slide where you want it to end up. Now we're going to go and we have to put the magic move between these 2 slides. We tap number 2 or whatever number that first slide. We hit the little arrow and we find the word transition. We hit our transition. Now, one thing you'll notice when we did the line animate, we had 3 boxes. We had build in, action, and build out. Your build in gave you your line draw. Your action gave you your paths, which what we did last time. And then your build out makes your things disappear just differently. Add transition, I'm going to tap it. Now, the nice thing is there's lots of fun transitions. You can use any of these. But what we're learning how to do is what makes this kind of interesting for storytelling is this magic move. So I'm going to tap magic move. All right, when I tap magic move, it kind of showed me what I did, how it's going to work. It blends the 2 slides together. I'm going to tap my X to close out. It's going to say, we want to duplicate your slide. I'm like, I don't need you. I already did that. So I press cancel. And then I come up here to the top to tap the check. And it should work. And it did. All right, so let me show you again. We added a transition here. All right, so we added that transition. And if I tap that transition, it reminds me that we put that magic move there. And then my first slide, I had my CO2 on the slide. And my second slide, it went off. When I come up to my play button, I just am going to tap the screen and make it move. And it goes off. Give me a thumbs up if it worked for you. if you don't mind, in the chat, just to see, is it like, okay, we're getting there. I kind of see the concept because we're about to put the CO2 in the ocean. So I want to kind of make sure we at least get our CO2 in the air. Give you guys a minute to just let me know that you are with me. Okay, I'm worried now. I don't see any check marks. Does that mean you guys are all, you want me to do it again? I'm happy to do it again. Or Lauren, what do you think?
I mean, maybe do it one. Oh, check mark. Anthony.
Check mark.
Okay.
Yes, Stephanie, I'll have to show you in Canva. This is what it's different with Canva. Magic Move doesn't exist in Canva. There's something else, but I can help you. No, I can't to swap right now. I'll have to, maybe we do it in a minute. Okay, we got one check mark. Way to go. I hope you guys, please let me know if you want me to slow down because I will, can be done on Chromebooks. No, Keynote, it can't, we can alter it to Canva. Canva has some of the same ideas, but this particular platform is only an iPad. It's a little more robust, which is why I wanted to show, because we had a lot of iPads. But again, I can show you how to do some of this on Canva. There's a lot of options and things that they can still do all this storytelling. All right, guys, we're going to make one more slide and then I'm going to let you play a little bit because I want to make sure that like you we're going to do this kind of the same thing again. All right, so here we have the CO2 is not on the screen, right? And then we want to show it coming in. So we need to come here to the plus and we have to create a new slide. Now we're going to build our underwater scene, which is super fun and cool. And I'm going to just let you guys kind of have fun with this while you're searching. You're going to want to create something that looks like it's above water. So if you watch, I mean, some of it is above water. I'm going to choose a background again, a day background. But what I'm going to do to create underwater is I'm going to I'm actually going to hit my shapes and I'm just going to use a plain square and I'm going to tap my square and I know it's not perfect, but it's kind of going to be the underwater. And so I'm going to change it to maybe a darker blue so that it looks like I want to be able to see the CO2 coming into the water. I'm also going to give a little bit of sand, kind of the bottom of the ocean. One way we can do that is with the circle. And the nice thing about the shapes, you see how I can stretch it and I can move it around. I'm going to pinch out a little so you can see. I can make it look like the bottom. I can change the color. Let's do like a sandy color maybe. And now, if I were to show you, it looks roughly, it's going to look like underwater in a minute because I'm going to add some stuff. It actually looks like we could be sitting on the beach right now. All right. So I'm using just shapes. And remember, it's not, a lot of times little younger kids will say, well, Walt Disney does it this way or Pixar does it this way. And I'm like, well, they use fancier platforms. But it's so neat to watch the kids think of themselves as storytellers and animators. So I'm going to go back to my content hub and this time I'm going to look for either fish. I think I'm going to look for coral or shells because one of the things about the oxidation, the acidification is it kind of unfortunately hurts the coral reefs. And I don't necessarily want a picture because I've started with graphics. So I'm going to go up here and choose transparency. And now I have some fun choices. So I'm going to choose that. And we're going to get this kind of underneath here. So it looks like it's underwater. I'm going to bring this a little lower. And I'm going to kind of play with it. I'm going to find a couple more things. So take a minute and build your scene. Have fun with kind of finding some things that you like. You can play with shapes. You can play with the graphics that are in there. Let's see. I'm going to show you too about layering here in a minute. As soon as we get a few things in our underwater. Mm-hmm. And grab at least one fish or something that moves. A turtle might work. Something that we can have move. Okay. Give you guys a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to show you a couple of things. Maybe try to have 2 or 3 things on there. If not, you know, at least one where you can have. I want to show you how these are layered. You can see how my starfish is behind things. I'll show you how to adjust that.
Susan, do you want some music right now or are you good?
We're good because I'm gonna pick it back up in a second. I'm gonna show them a couple more things and then maybe some music for 5 or 10. So yeah.
Awesome. I'll be ready.
Okay. All right. So let's look at here. I want to show you that if you can see that one of these is behind the other, and I want to put my my seaweed, for better or worse, behind my starfish, or I want to bring my starfish in the front. So to do that, and just think of it like layers, like top to bottom, and they go in the order you add them to your keynote. So I'm going to go up to the plus, or excuse me, the paintbrush, keep saying that. And what I'm doing is I've selected this. And when I hit my paintbrush, you'll see I have style, I have image, and I have arrange. And that is right now, you can see I've got 1, 2, 3. Anyway, this is my layers right here in that little moved back to front. So I'm going to take my slider. It's because I've selected the starfish. Watch my starfish. And it moved in front now. So now my starfish can be in front of, and that is the way you can rearrange things. If you want, for example, my fish is in front, I kind of want to put my fish swimming behind. So this way, again, once kids learn to do this, it's almost second nature. Okay, we're going to try one more magic move, and then I'm going to let you just play and pause and try to just kind of go. But I want to show one more way of bringing in. Right here, we have our CO2 is up here, and we want to bring our CO2 down. So you actually are going to have to make 2 slides for this. So we're going to go back up here, and I'm going to tap my CO2, and I'm going to hold it down with one finger while I tap the other one. I'm going to take both of them, and I am going to copy them, and I am going to come down to my next slide, and I'm going to paste them right where they were. Because when it goes from this scene, I need to transfer to this scene before I move that in. So that's why this scene, now I don't have anything. My CO2 is hidden up here. I'm going to go ahead and I will show you the other way to do it. I'm going to add a transition first, add the transition, add the magic move. And right now it didn't duplicate. So let me show you. And it says, hello, duplicate this time. Because I didn't do it, I'm going to go ahead and tap duplicate. And now you see that I've got 2 slides. My second slide, I'm going to move my CO2 into the water. And I'm going to move my fish up. And it's going to run right into the CO2. And you notice that my fish is behind the CO2. So I think I might want to adjust that. I'm not going to worry about it now, but I probably would put the fish in front, or maybe just like that. So now I've got, and if you notice right here, do you see these little yellow corners? There's 2 tiny little yellow corners in mine. That tells you that magic move is on that slide. So let me show you what it looks like all together. And then I'm going to let you play and see if you can do it all by yourself, or think about something that you are going to teach tomorrow and see, there we go, where you've told a story. Now there's still more to tell. You can add text boxes like you saw in that example. All right, Lauren, why don't we play some music? I can answer questions, or if you guys want to come off mute and just try a magic move all by yourself. See if you can play and bring things on, layer some things, because that's the magic of the actual narrative storytelling. And so think about possibly like what you're teaching next week. Maybe it's equivalent fractions. You can show it, they can animate it. Maybe it's settings, and you want to just have them create a setting. All right, Lauren, let's do maybe 5-6 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. And I'm right here if you guys need anything.
I'm just going to take over as presenter, Susan. Really
Oh, okay. Here we
do you
go.
mind? Okay.
Not at all.
Sound okay, Susan? Okay.
Lauren, Stephanie wants, I'm going to show Stephanie in Canva. Is there any way? Okay. So I'm going to take it back over. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries.
All right.
Go for it.
Okay. Let me get here. Let's see. Okay. All right. I'm going to try this. It's been a minute since I've done it. But I remember, I think there's a couple different ways you can do this. I don't have I was going to put this up here so I can kind of see what I'm doing here. Okay. Can you see that? Can you see? Okay. So if we go into elements, I'm not going to build a whole scene, but let's find a fish. All right. So we're going to find, this is a cute fish. So I'm going to bring my fish in. And again, it's the same idea of how you do this. And the layers are also the same. So for the sake of, let's see, let's do underwater. And let me show you how then you can come up here to position and see here are the layers. You can see them, you can bring it under. And so I'm going to stretch out now the difference with Canva is Canva has a lot of ready-made things, which is fine. So my challenge is that as any kids making their story, it almost, sometimes they lose the finesse of the story. So always encourage them to still create, because they'll just I've seen a lot of kids just plaster stuff on and call it a day. I'm like, no. All right. So here's our guy right here. and we want him to swim. So we're going to animate. You can animate an element or a page. And these are all sort of general ones. You actually want to click on or tap, whereas elements, okay, look over to the side and you should have, it should be right here. And in elements, you've got all kinds of graphics. You've got photos, you have videos. It's pretty much the same as I showed you on Keynote. It's just laid out very differently. And it actually has a lot more. Just a broader library. So what you would do is you would want to click graphics and you would maybe type in fish. And then you've got some fish. And then when you want to close it, you would just, move it out of the way so that you could play with it. You're on a browser, which is different than working on a device like that. So just, it's a little clunkier. But we're going to hit position. And so this is nice because you can see that there. And now we're going to go back to animate. And the animate you want is the create an animation, which is under custom. So when we tap it, this is where we can do like the same kind of movement as, let me see, I gotta move this guy over here for a second. Okay, so I'm going to.
I'm so sorry. I was trying to unmute for myself because I'm looking under Canva and I don't see elements at all on my end.
Okay.
I've opened it up and I have create, home, classroom projects, templates, and brand. That is all I see. That's
okay.
all.
I want you to go. Do you have a create? Do you have a plus?
I have a plus.
Hit your plus.
Uh-huh.
I want you to hit presentations.
Uh-huh.
And then hit presentation.
Okay.
And now you should have templates, elements. Do you see that?
Yeah. So,
okay.
Could this be used for a bibliography presentation type of thing, or is this more storytelling?
What do you mean by bibliography?
Well, they're going to do the students are picking out a historian that they're going to write a paper on.
Oh.
They're going to create a presentation on from our social studies book. But I was thinking, and I'm so sorry, everybody. I apologize taking up your time. But the thing is, this class, when you said that they're to give them, this class. This class, I've been limiting Chromebooks because they've been going off on other apps. They've been seen going on each other's slides. So I've been monitoring. So that's why I'm hesitant how to use Canva and because I want them to create a PowerPoint. But if they can do that here and it's easier than a PowerPoint, then great.
This to me is much more interesting and creative than a PowerPoint, but
Okay.
it functions just like the same thing. It just has more bells and whistles and things. So, and they should be able to, and Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but do they have like a school account?
We have a school
Yes.
account. That's why I was asking you, because we have Chromebooks. We do not have iPads here.
Yes. So Canva is your closest to what I've been showing you today. So it's the same concept though. You could use some of the information that I gave today to help plan it out. What's the story? Why is whoever the person they're doing it, why it's important? And that is a good thing for them to look at and to make those decisions. And they could write their whole paper and then they could storyboard out what they want their presentation to look like. So then it would be like, really good for them as well. We have like 1 minute, such a short time. And I want to show you all some examples over here and kind of just, end it well, because we have about 3 to 4 minutes. Just wanted to encourage you that when you say the story is for an audience, it changes how the kids create. Years ago, I had a little second grader who scribbled on a piece of paper his butterfly, life cycle. and he kind of made a video. And I said, you know, this is going on YouTube. And he looked at me and his jaw dropped. And he said, and I bet your grandmother's going to see this because, you know, I know your family. He's like, I'm not done. And he turned on his heels and went back, and his level went from scribbling, you know, like throw it together, to something he truly cared about. So one of the reasons why I love the idea of a visual and sharing it with an audience is it changes. And it doesn't have to be YouTube broad. It could be you're showing a younger student or an older student. Maybe you're just showing your parents. So think about the power of a visual narrative story that they're going to tell. I'm going to show you just some examples of some different genres you could consider. I believe some of these are on the Canva I gave you, but just to talk you through, this is right here. This one is a puppet. We did it in front of the green screen. The kids did the Common Good. You're probably not going to be able to hear this because I think I had issues last time. So you guys will have to watch it. It's on a YouTube channel. Where the kids wrote their own little scripts on how they could help the community, and then they made their little puppet shows. This one here is just a video of the Simple Machines. And this was all done on Keynote. This is a 4th grader. She learned what it was. She wrote about it. So think about the difference between writing it on paper and then but instead she wrote it and she showed it. Think about that level of understanding. This is a natural disaster. They use stop motion out of paper. You can do stop motion on Keynote. I think I mentioned last time you can also do it on a stop motion app that is free on iPad. They did it with sound effects. You won't be able to necessarily hear it, but they used found objects, like, you know, they found something, they banged on things, they made their noises, they whistled. It was really fun, but this is a stop motion. And so they think about the planning that would go into something like this. And this is just pictures. This wouldn't even take you to Canva or any of that. If you had kids make it and just take pictures, you could probably do this on a Chromebook as long as the Chromebook has pictures. I've actually done this on Canva as well, taken pictures, bring all the pictures into Canva and exported it out as a movie. I also wanted to show you this one. This is a history example for 3rd graders. See if I can get this to play. They did an animated documentary, and I'm not getting it to work, of, isn't it? It was a whole Missouri documentary. I think I put the link on the thing so you can check it out. Another thing is, here are some infographics. This was also a visual story. The kids did research, so you can see Saving the Blue Whale. This is 3rd grade. They use these templates in Canva. They can also use Keynote or anything else. That's what they did. And it looks like I copied that. Okay, we've talked about graphic novels. That is also a really great platform, and you can do it on Keynote. You can do it on Canva. Again, the visual story where you're bringing in the pictures. One fun thing that I didn't really show you on Keynote, but you can record your voice. So if you come up here and you record an audio, I could record my voice right now. You wouldn't be able to hear it. But if I said, hello, this is Susan, and then I stopped it and I would insert it, now I have actually got my audio in there. So not only are the kids writing and they're drawing and they're telling the stories or whatever it might be, or an informational piece, and then they can talk about it. So here's just a few things: photo essays, motion and animation, any sort of interactive narratives. I didn't have enough time to create one. I was actually going to show you is you can do a choose your own adventure. Kids could show could show decision making and ethical decision making, and they could create that on Canva or Keynote by connecting things. This is an example I think I showed you of Line Animate, but I just want to show you kids could do their own selves and who they are. This is just more of a picture, not just their name. This one was done by a kindergartner, and this is how bees pollinate. So again, kids are able to show what they know in different ways. This is teaching sequencing. It's teaching all kinds. And most of the kids on most of these projects, they would have to write first. So they're getting the writing, but then they're also creating. So it's kind of deepening their understanding. One couple more things and then I'll stop. Pictures. This is so fun with the camera. You could do a before and an after. This is an animated GIF. Basically an animated GIF is you do it on Keynote, you export it out as a little movie, and it's one of those little things so that they see those all the time on social media. Now you put them in there. Maybe it's a positive message, something with kindness. All right, I will stop. And if there's any questions or anyone who wants to, anything, I am done talking. And I stuck some resources on that Canva. If you want to dig around, I even found one about faith stories. There were some really kind of ideas there on how you could tell. I mean, Jesus, when he's in the boat and the fish, there's so many ideas. All right. Go ahead, Lauren.
That's amazing, Susan. Thank you for everything that you shared. We'll wait for questions to filter, and if you have them, we'll stay on a few extra minutes. I know we're a little bit over time, but
sorry. Thanks, guys.
No, you're fine, Susan. This is great information. So just a quick reminder, if you are not a part of our Ignite Plus community, we'd love for you to join. That's where we drop tons of tips and resources. You hear about all the learning labs first and get to register first. Lots of educators over there that you can collaborate with, ask questions like what's working in your classroom? What are you doing when it comes to AI and introducing AI to your students and great things like that. So here's the link if you want to join, and that's inside of LEAD. And then, sorry, I'm in the wrong tab. Our next learning lab will be in April on the 23rd at 3:30. So we try to keep it the same time for everybody. And we're talking all about math and specifically creating math resources with AI. So study guides, practice, tons of different things, how you can take a picture of your test, upload it to ChatGPT and say, create a study guide for my students. And we're gonna be showing you how to use Gemini and ChatGPT for that. And it will work across all different grade levels. So I will drop the link in there for that so you can register and kind of add that to your calendar so you don't miss the next one. And yeah, let us know if you have any questions before we hop off. And thank you so much for joining us. And for Susan, that was amazing. It's so crazy everything you can do inside of Keynote, because I normally use Canva, but it's really cool. You can do so much.
Canva's great. But I think if you know to toggle between, they often say for future, if kids have that cognitive flexibility, the ability to kind of toggle between different programs and different things, because it's ever changing. So I would encourage you, give it a try. Even if you feel a little hesitant, the kids will figure it out in a minute. Maybe have them make animated kindness messages that they want to send to people. There's a lot of, and I just kind of scratched the surface. So, maybe explore it with your students and say, how could we use this to bless others, to put good into the community and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's such a fun idea, Susan. You have so many good ideas for all different things that you can use and create that with. So that's really fun. Okay, there's another minute. If you guys have any questions about this, any questions for Susan on Keynote or Canva. Susan is a Canva expert as well, in case you couldn't tell from how quickly she pivoted to Canva. Stephanie, hopefully that was helpful for you.
Yes, Stephanie, I'm glad you pushed so that everyone else could see that you can do it in both places.
Yeah, because I know everybody has iPads, but if you have older students, you might have Chromebooks. So it's helpful to know how to use that. So, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I don't see any questions coming in. So thank you so much everyone for joining us today.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
Thank you, Susan, for this amazing presentation. We always love having you join us.
Thank you so much. Have fun creating.